talk about my experience at Meta and how I hated it and how they fired me after 6 months, the number one question I get is, why did I get fired? I feel like I have to talk about this at least once a quarter, so here we go. I started Meta at, was it September, October of 2021. It was cool. I was like, oh my God, I love social media. I didn't have a following then. I didn't even have a TikTok. After I started my job at Meta, I posted a TikTok about Meta and my benefits. I would always see these day in the life videos and they'd be so cool of like people going into the Google office and the Facebook office. And I worked remotely, so I didn't have like free food and all that other stuff, but I had a really amazing benefits package. So I made a TikTok. It just happened to go viral. It was like maybe my third TikTok I've ever made. And I usually never talked about work before this, and I never talked about recruiting because to me work was work. And I thought that was obvious. So anyways, I talk about benefits at Meta and it goes viral. And then I get a bunch of questions. People think it's like an ad for Meta to work there. I was just sharing my benefits because they give you $4,000 in baby cash. If you have a baby, they will give you $4,000. I just thought that was crazy. And they gave you at the time $3,000 for childcare reimbursement, which for childcare is nothing, but it's also better than nothing. You know what I mean? Anyways, so it went viral. A lot of people who worked at Meta saw it. It wasn't a big deal. They were like, oh my God, I loved your video. Until it was a big deal. And then they stopped loving my video. I got written up for something that was on my story. I wasn't necessarily talking crap about the company, but I was just sharing how challenging it was working there because as a recruiter, you reach out to people and they would just like cuss you out. I posted about that on my story. I got written up for that. I was like, people are watching my story. Mind you, I did not have followers at this point. I think I had like maybe 2,000 followers on Instagram. So I was shook. I was scared. But I was posting content on TikTok that had to do with like recruiting and careers, but not Meta. Specifically not Meta, because at this point I had gotten talked to about my social media at Meta 3 times, three different occasions. So I was like, I'm not gonna talk about this company at all. They even asked me to talk about the company on LinkedIn and to share about our hiring. They even wanted me to host a workshop on how to use LinkedIn to build your personal brand at Meta, simultaneously complaining about my social media. It was insane. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just not going to talk about the company. So one day I get a call from legal. This is my 3rd time. So I already knew what was going on. At this point, I was so miserable because I felt like I couldn't even talk. I felt like I couldn't post on my stories. I couldn't post on TikTok. I felt like I was being watched all the time. Because every time I would post something, my boss would be like, hey girl, come on. I get on the call with legal. They go through 20 of my TikToks, 20 of them, to ask me if they were appropriate. It was the most embarrassing thing I've ever experienced. So anyways, I knew I was gonna get fired, so I quit, and then they fired me the next day.